that boy lit up a candle today. You know he about to go crazy. Now, I promise you guys today it's chill dud. I'm in a good mood, all right? I'm having a rather joyous, enjoyable day actually. And that being said, we're gonna keep it calm today, okay? Gentlemen, welcome or welcome back to another video. Now, fellas, I titled this video 8 Tenets of Classical Masculinity, or 8 Tenets of Being a Classically Masculine Man. Now, I got my key points over here, just some points so that I can conduct myself with brevity, be concise, and not go on a tangent, as I always do, because you guys know I turn the camera on and I start going crazy, right? But that being said, I know that there's somebody watching this right now that's thinking, oh, what does this young guy know about being classically masculine? Yeah, all right. Anyway, fellas, that being said, man, let's get started with the video, okay? So, when I refer to classical masculinity, what do I mean? I'm talking about an overall producer, okay? This is a man that is well-rounded, as you guys always hear me talking about, conducting ourselves as Renaissance men, modern-day Renaissance man. A man that exudes and encompasses all of the qualities of an efficient, competent man. Now, that leads us into number one perfectly. When we're talking about competency, you see, a classically masculine man is competent. A lot of you gentlemen today, as I've spoken about recently, you're watching all these red pill videos that's talking to you about women or this and that. These creators are conducting themselves in a rather fervent manner, talking to you about all types of different tactics. You're watching videos talking about a cantle tilt, whatever that is. You gotta have a sharp jawline. You're looking at all the look maxing and all of this noise and chaos on the internet. But honestly, all that stuff is just extra. You need to become an insanely competent man. What do I mean by competency? Let's break it down, okay? When I talk about competency, I'm talking about, at the end of the day, you need to know that you're able to produce in life and do things. This is far before we're talking about the acquisition of women. This is before we're talking about acquisition of resources, because resources, right, is ultimately linked to your competency. Okay, what can you do? What skill set do you have can you provide to the marketplace? Can you provide to the world? I always talk to you guys about becoming the best man that you can be and then offering yourself to a life of service to the world. And this is the natural universal law of reciprocity. Once you give value, you will get value back, whether this be in riches, right, monetary wise, whether this be in abundance of women, whether this be a certain type of lifestyle. You need to be able to produce, okay? All you guys are watching all these videos on other things that really don't matter, okay? Now, how do you become more competent? The first thing, gentlemen, is, as I've been saying and beating a dead horse, as the camera's falling down, let me bring the thing out a little bit. Y'all, bring the camera up a little for y'all, right? As I cook. Now, first you need to address yourself. One must know thyself. For once he masters thyself, which, by the way, mastering yourself is a continuous effort, okay? It's a continuous effort. As you go through the ranks of your life and your mind, you will have to master, dominate, and conquer yourself every single day. And as you become more, right, in tune with yourself, and you start to gain more skills, right? You start to become this more grand man as you aggrandize yourself and you elevate the ranks of life or whatever your respective field is, and you become a man of high esteem, right? You become more competent. And through your competency comes your what, fellas? Say it with me. Your confidence. And the confidence makes you radiant. It makes you magnetic. This is what all these, creators are talking about aura, right? I think by now we can tell who has a true aura by just looking at them. Can't we, fellas? Of course we can, right? And through this aura, from you doing the work on yourself, then you start to attract, say the women. Then you start to get this, that, and the third, all right? So number one, the first tenet to being a classically masculine man is through your competency, fellas. Don't let anybody tell you different, okay? You need to become extremely confident. Yes, confident. But you need to become extremely competent to set yourself aside from the pack. And by the way, if you want to become an extremely well-rounded Swiss Army knife of a man, click that first link that's pinned in the comment section. I got something special that I just built for you guys, and we're changing men's life all over the world. Moving into number two. Second tenet to becoming a classically masculine man is you need to be able to control your emotions, as I said, master thyself, but you need to be able to act and do what is just and do what is right in the face of your emotions telling you the contrary. What do I mean? You see, there's days where I don't want to go to the gym. I feel like sleeping in. I feel like laying down. I feel like eating snacks. But I know I need to go train because me struggling and pushing myself is going to do what? One, it's going to fortify my body, making me look better, right? Making me more capable, more competent, right? And two, it's serving me. It's serving me mentally, physically, and spiritually because I do believe that exercise is a form of prayer. I do. I believe that there's nothing better than a man exerting himself, pushing and fortifying, right? Building himself up. I believe that's a form of prayer, right? Now, when we talk about overcoming your emotions, a man must be able to do what's right, regardless of how he feels. For example, firefighters going into a burning building to save people, right? This is heroic, valor, right? People that are in service. I'll give you guys an example, right? I'm finally going to tell you one of these Colombian jungle stories that you guys have always been asking for, right? And I would tell the story in Spanish, but I know a lot of you guys don't like to read subtitles, but fuck it. It's only right that we do the story in Spanish, being that I was in Latin America. Bueno, yo recuerdo esta noche bien, yo tuve una cita con mi chica, con mi ex. Estábamos en Santa Marta, Colombia, en la costa, y allí no había Uber, nada así. Entonces, bueno, la madre de mi chica, básicamente como se quedaba en la selva. Entonces, esta noche tuvimos una cita en la playa cerca de la selva, y era una noche maravillosa, digamos. Bueno, la pasamos súper bien, todo eso. Estábamos bien llenos, también un poco borrachos. Estábamos riendo un montón, disfrutamos el tiempo que tuvimos. Entonces, bueno, eran como las 11:30 de la noche. Y se supone que ella tiene un manejador, pero él no se respondió. Entonces, bueno, ella se puso muy preocupada y me estaba preguntando, ay, mi amor, ¿qué vamos a hacer? Entonces, bueno, en ese momento ya casi eran como las 12. Entonces yo decidí, bueno, vale, nos toca que caminar. Entonces elegimos a caminar, pero la ruta para ir a la casa de su madre era en la selva. Entonces yo recuerdo que esa noche, wow, como qué noche oscura. Entonces tampoco daba luz la luna. Pero bueno, elegimos a caminar. Y mientras que estábamos caminando en la selva, yo tenía mi luz de mi teléfono, de mi móvil, y con las manos conectadas, claro, yo estaba caminando, poniendo la luz en la ruta. Y ella no estaba prestando atención, claro, porque se sintió bien segura con su hombre, pues, guapo, fuerte, inteligente, capaz, su hombre de renacimiento, ¿cierto? Entonces, bueno, estábamos caminando cuando me di cuenta, como yo notaba que había algo detrás de nosotros que estaba moviendo como un animal como poderoso. Entonces, cuando yo notaba eso, yo ni siquiera necesitaba saber lo que era. Simplemente yo miraba a ella y le dije, vamos, vamos, vamos. Empezamos a correr. Pero claro, porque yo corro más rápido que ella, nuestras manos desconectaron. Entonces yo, como un hombre real, un caballero total, yo no podía dejar a mi chica así, ¿cierto? Entonces yo volví para ella, y cuando yo volví para ella, yo la vi. Mano, yo la vi con mis putos ojos propios. Era negra, 4 piernas, con ojos amarillos. Cuando yo puse la luz, yo la vi, era una puta pantera. Se gritaba como, se saltó y se fue para los árboles. Corremos hasta que llegamos a una casita de seguridad. And then we told them, right? Like, yo, there was a fucking panther that was chasing us. Nos iba a comer. And the security guard, well, he was more like a park ranger. He looked at us and was like, oh, actually there aren't any panthers in this area. That was probably like a little jungle cat or a jaguar. And I'm looking at him like, really, bro? Same thing. But anyway, what did I display in that moment? We were scared for our lives. I was scared for my life. My heart was beating so fast. When my hand disconnected from hers, I didn't have to think about it. I turned around for her. I couldn't leave my woman like that. I couldn't leave anybody like that. I was scared, bro. I was scared out of my tits, bro. I was terrified, bro. Terrified, right? Like, I'm talking about all hairs on the back of my neck stood up, like fight or flight. Like, I felt something was behind us, and like it was a biological trigger. I didn't even need to know what it was. I just heard the animal moving through the bushes powerfully. It was dark, like midnight in the jungle. I was scared, but I turned around, and this displayed to her what? Valor, protection. And oddly enough, after that encounter, I don't know what it was, but I was extremely aroused after that. I was scared for my life, and then it turned into sexual arousal. And it did for her too. And that night was one of the most primitive, I'll say, that was one of the most primitive experiences I've had. It was very primitive. That's the best way I could put. I'm talking about biting, all types of. And then the following morning in the jungle is when I recorded this video.
Porque estás tú aquí moviéndote así no pares. Baby, tú eres nueva esta noche.
So it's like a classically masculine man has to go against his emotions, subdue his emotions to do what is just, to do what is right, to do what is, brave, to do what is courageous, right? Courage is acting in the presence of fear. You're still acting, you're still charging forward. This is how you are classically masculine. Number 3, gentlemen, the third way to be classically masculine is you need to be able to control your sexual urges. One of the main issues in modern day society is you look at Hollywood, you look at the media, you look at the music, everything is so sexual. Everything is, spewing, right? Sexuality. And what this does to the brain and to the psyche, unbeknownst to many of you, is this is conditioning you to accept degeneracy, right? This is conditioning you to be open with, dare I say, the malady of society, right? The malady being people are just far too sexual in public, right? People have lost class. People are no longer civil. People are no longer courteous, right? People are no longer cognizant of what they're exposing to, dare I say, their children and the rest of society. I mean, you observe how people step outside. It looks like they don't even care, right? People in PJs and all types of stuff. So a man has to be able to control his urges, right? Every time that you get an urge, you can't just go whack off, right? You have to control yourself. You have to treat women with respect, right? You have to be able to stay strong and not succumb to your primitive urges, right? In this context, when I say primitive, by using context clues, you can tell that I mean in a negative sense. Now, when I'm talking about having a fiery, passionate night with a woman, and I say primitive in that context, I'm talking about raw. You know what I'm saying? So there's a difference, and this is what I love so much about using proper diction. Now, when we're talking about controlling your urges, right? I'm a man who has an extremely high sex drive, right? I have high testosterone, and I know some of you guys who also take care of yourself. You train, you eat healthy, you have high testosterone as well. What I recommend that you do when you do get an urge is you simply, what? You transmute it. Think and Grow Rich talks about transmuting this energy. I transmute my energy towards reading, towards grinding, exercise, the business, competition, right? This is a blessing to have high testosterone. It's a blessing to have high sexual energy. But you can't waste it. You can't just decimate it on frivolous things like, whacking off. I prefer, and I'm not against a man handling himself once in a while, bro. I'm not one of these dudes that's gonna tell you no fap. Nah, bro, I'm a man with a high testosterone. But what I will say is there's nothing better than the real thing. So I would discipline myself and I would enjoy certain acts with a woman and then it's back to work. It's transmuting the rest of the energy, right? So this is how you stay classically masculine. You must be on top of your sexual urges. You must be a master of this domain of your life. For the man that cannot control himself sexually and who succumbs and falls victim to the sway of a woman's hips is a lost man. And this is why a lot of women don't respect you. They can tell that you home all day whacking it, beating it, zooming in on feet pics. Oh, I know you nasty, bro. I know. I know you nasty, bro. You got to control it, bro, because I'm telling you, the same way that when you do the work, you exude confidence and you're radiant, when you're in incest, when you're a degenerate, when you're of lower nature and lower frequency, you exude that as well when you go out in the public, bro. And this is why a lot of you guys are miserable, because you're not doing the work on yourself, bro. And it shows, trust me. Moving on to number 4. Number 4, be a gentleman. As I've mentioned previously, in this modern day age, especially in the red pill space, in the manosphere space, which I'm not knocking the red pill space, bro. As I said, there's a lot of valuable information in the red pill space, right? So I'm not knocking it. However, you can tell when these guys conduct themselves in a zealous manner in which they're talking about, oh, women, it's just your turn and all this shit, that some of these guys even tell you that chivalry is dead, which I highly disagree with, right? You must always conduct yourself like a gentleman. You must always be chivalrous to the right woman. Now, this is where your masculine discernment has to come into play. You need to fortify yourself and be a man that's worthy of discerning if this woman is worth your efforts, resources, and attention. This is why I told you guys in a video I did 2 months ago, you have to date women during every income level of your life so that you can be well versed in intersexual dynamics. This is where you get those battle wounds and you start to learn how to discern and decipher and distinguish a harlot versus a respectable woman. Now, that being said, you must always be a gentleman, conduct yourself with class and elegance, right? You must, be courteous. You must be aware, right? You must treat women with respect, treat people with respect as a gentleman does. Carry yourself with grace, which society is lacking grace these days. As I said earlier, civilization isn't as civilized as it once was. I mean, I take that back, because has civilization ever been civilized? I mean, we're talking about people who used to watch people get their heads chopped off, people who used to burn people alive and have an event and picnic. So I take that back. Civilization, for the most part, hasn't been super civilized, but there's always been people that have conducted themselves with class, grace, and elegance, right? We can observe this all around the world in different societies, right? Are we going to talk about the nuances of what civil means? Not in this video, but you can get the gist of what I'm saying. You must always conduct yourself with respect, right? Respect for yourself and respect for others, because ultimately we are all cut from the same cloth. We are all consciousness expressed and manifested in different forms. So, you looking at somebody else, that's your brother, right? You looking at somebody else, that's your sister. This is why I always call you guys my brothers in this video. Moving on. Number 5, guys, the 5th tenet to being masculine or being classically masculine is to live with indifference. You see, once a man has been fortified enough and has gone through enough pain, he understands that life is cyclical, that there will be ups and downs. He understands some great truths. You understand that, things really don't matter, bro. That's the honest truth. Not to sound like a pessimist, but at the end of the day, we're all gonna perish. So live life to the fullest. If you're with a woman right now who you're madly in love with, she gonna wake up one day and say, I don't wanna be with you. And you've gotta be okay with that. You've gotta be able to love a woman stoically, right? You gotta be able to roll with the punches, so to speak, in life. Life is gonna happen, that's certain. And you need to be strong. You need to be okay with whatever happens. And, one of my favorite sayings is, change is nature's delight. I love that. The only thing constant in life is change. And so once you understand this as a man, you're going to be indifferent to whether your friend betrays you, your woman leaves you, this happens. Now we're sentient beings, correct? We're going to feel things. And I would invite you to deal with your emotion and process it in a healthy manner, right? Now, yes, while we're sentient beings, right, we also have the ability to look at ourselves from the third perspective, come out of our bodies as the gods of our reality that we are, and be like, yo, you know what? this does hurt right now on a 3D plane, but the higher version of me understands that this is a part of life. And when you're able to separate yourself from your emotions, your life, and the trivialities of life in such an elevated and enlightened perspective, you're able to live a truly rich and wealthy life, because you understand that life ultimately is a game, and it has many different complexities. It's rather convoluted, but you can also enjoy the bad as much as you enjoy the good. And this is how you are classically masculine. You understand that nothing is definite. Number 6, gentlemen, of how to be classically masculine is simply you have to dress well. Especially gentlemen my age, millennials, especially Gen Zers, right? We don't dress nice at all. I mean, if you look at how our grandfathers, our fathers used to dress, myself being that I'm Haitian, there was a certain standard that we had in my household, even though we were, poor. There was a certain standard of how we conducted ourselves, right? Dressing, grooming. This is such a, big part of Haitian culture, right? And when I look at how people dress, especially now that I've come back to the USA after years of being abroad, and I'm looking at how people dress, people going to Walmart in bonnets and pajamas, it's honestly horrendous, and it's unacceptable. As men, we have to conduct ourselves with class. We have to have a high standard for ourselves. A lot of you gentlemen are walking around sagging their pants. We've already spoken about that. We've already addressed that. You guys are wearing ski masks in public, scullies and all that stuff. Like, who's gonna take you seriously, bro? So many of you guys have told me that, oh, you wanna do this, you wanna grow your business. You don't wanna grow a business, bro. You don't wanna be a businessman. What you want to do is get a lot of money and flex on Instagram and look cool, and you associate that with being an entrepreneur. But the reality of being an entrepreneur is that you're going to have to sweat your balls, like my dad always says, bust your ass for years before you ever see a payout, okay? You're going to have control. You're going to have to know how to articulate yourself, use proper diction, understand people, understand psychology, economics. You're going to have to be well-rounded. You're going to have to conduct yourself in a specific manner, right? Part of that is how you dress. How you articulate and express yourself through clothing says a lot about the internal state and temperature of your mind. When you go out in public and you haven't even made any effort to present yourself well, as I mentioned before in previous videos, you never know who you're going to meet. We've got to get back to dressing like respected men. We've got to get back to dressing nicely, fellas. This is one of the tenets to being classically masculine. It's conducting yourselves with class, bro. Understanding how to dress properly, bro. How to coordinate your pieces. How to look like a real man, bro. Not sagging your pants. And again, I like style, bro. I like fashion. I like to switch it up. But more times than not, I'm wearing timeless, classy pieces, bro. Straight up. Because I'm a grown man. And I respect myself. So when I go out in public, I need people to respect me. Simple. Number 7, gentlemen. Stand on your word. You see, throughout history, we've never heard the term a woman of her word. But we've heard the term a man of his word. Why is this? It's because traditionally we understand that women live in their emotions. And a man has to be what? He has to be logical. That being said, you as a logical man, you have to understand that your word is bond. You see, many men these days, which I would argue that they're men, many of you are walking around today, actually need to hand in your testicles. Because the truth is, a lot of you guys are walking around with penises thinking that you're a man when you're really not. And so that being said, when you say something, you can't be fickle. You have to be definite. When you say something, you need to honor your word. And when you honor your word, you're taken more seriously. Not only are you respected, but you respect yourself. Because a man that doesn't even stand on the principles of his own words, how can you trust that man? How can you do business with that man? How can you call that man brother? How can you be on the battlefield with that man? Shoot. If there's any ladies watching this right now, how could you lay down with a man that doesn't honor his word? This is why I'm very careful with the way that I speak. You got to understand, I'm not just somebody here speaking to you that's randomly flapping my gums. I'm somebody who used to struggle with a debilitating speech impediment, so I understand the power of proper diction and articulation, word selection. So I'm very meticulous with what I say, okay? And so that being said, fellas, our word is our bond. And one way to be classically masculine is to, one, be careful of what we say, because the words, what? They do cast spells, and you will be bound to that. And if you break that contract, that's on you. So when you are a man, you say what you mean. You're not passive. Oh, I think I'm gonna try that. No, you're either gonna do something or you're not. You ain't gonna try to do nothing. Fuck nigga, you're gonna do it or you're not. But I digress. Moving into number 8. Number 8, gentlemen, the 8th and last. Obviously, I could have made this video longer, but I gotta get going. The 8th and last tenet of being classically masculine is that you submit unto no man. You submit unto no one except God, except the Creator. You see, one thing that I've noticed, especially in this space of being a content creator, especially as content creators get bigger, is that we start to build a fan base. And that's fantastic. There's nothing wrong with having supporters. There's nothing wrong with admiring people. I admire a lot of people. I have a lot of people who I admire them as people, and I admire their work, right? Artists, creators, whatever. However, when you start to idolize, my idol, oh my goodness, my idol, hey, bitch, when you start to idolize and worship, oh my goodness, hey, bitch, when you start to idolize, this is an issue. And so this is why I tell you guys, you know, you can admire some of the content and value that I give to you. That's fantastic. I'm here to serve you, bro. I'm here to help you. But as this channel grows, don't idolize me, because why? You're your own sovereign man. That's right. You are in control of your life, bro. You could, you know what I'm saying, salute me. I'm going to salute you back. I can admire you. We can be brothers. We can be cool. But I submit unto no man except the Creator. And so the 8th tenet of being classically masculine is you understand this. Yeah, you're meek when you need to be meek, right? I don't like to say humble, but I do like to use the synonym meek, because it's a different degree of word. That's why synonyms are so powerful, because you can, certain words don't necessarily articulate the degree of thought that you have. So I'll say meek under this context, right? I'm able to be meek, right? I'm able to admire somebody. I'm able to ask for help. I'm able to be like, man, I fuck with that dude, bro. He's cool, salute. But I will never worship another man. I will never worship anything, right? I'll never submit unto anyone except thy Creator, right? Now, obviously, we have brothers of all walks of life. I'm not telling you what to submit unto. I'm just saying, bro, real strength comes from you understanding that it's not just you, bro. Straight up. We were all brought here to serve. Being a man is service. You hear me? So that being said, gentlemen, those were the 8 tenets of how to be classically masculine, all right? Again, if you're looking to be a classically well-rounded Swiss Army knife of a man, right? Click that first link that's pinned and let's get to work. Let's get to work. Fellas, I'll see you in the next video. Salute.
Motherfucker, I've been mortified, fortified, feeling like a Mordecai. I ain't regular, feel like Jordan wearing 45. Traumatized, victimized, seen some of my niggas die. Knock you off a base with a bat when them niggas slide. Homicide, genocide, televised, emphasize, perpetuating war. Tell that nigga he gon' pick a side. Hood ties from hood lines, my niggas doing dope lines. Don't run into the cops, that's a bitch, nigga exercise. Don't run into the cops, that's the motto. I don't see it coming to an end like